new house, we could take on the whole renovation in one go. Of course, most of us don't have the money for that. You have to attack a room at a time. But then look on the positive side, it gives you plenty of time to go out and find those little bargains, find that little something that would be just perfect for your house. I know exactly the spot I'm going to put that. In this series, we'll be rummaging through the archives and discovering the history hidden within your four walls. And along the way, I'm going to explore some great design ideas, reveal closely guarded tips of the trade, and encourage you to restore those hidden features to bring some character back to your home. Today, a high-flying professional couple with baby in tow are realising their lifelong dream, undertaking a complete overhaul of this fabulous Mary Poppins-style villa in the very heart of Royal Leamington Spa. You look at it from the outside, it's like a villa, little villa, and then you come inside and it's massive, isn't it? Take a look at this wonderful Regency Circus here in Royal Leamington Spa. A beautiful place, safe, quiet, the perfect place to raise a young family. And if you had a 14-week-old baby, you'd probably be worried about nappy changes, getting some sleep, doing the feeds right. But the owners of this wonderful 1830s villa have decided to undertake a complete renovation of the house at the same time. I personally think they're mad. They'll be interesting people to meet, don't you think? The Bannons are a couple of real business high flyers. Colin is Vice President of Innovation at a telecommunications company. And Emma's on maternity leave from her job as a sales executive. They've been together for 10 years, and for Canadian-born Colin, their recent move to this dream home was the realisation of a very English fairy tale.
Classic features, a really classy home that looks like it could just be taken right off a postcard, really. And I feel now that we've got this house, we've got the postcard.
You know, the moment we sort of drove around here, it was like, wow, would you believe something like this exists in the centre of town?
The house is nestled in a typically Georgian circus and has been built in a late Georgian or Regency style, with a grand entrance, high ceilings and lots of beautiful light rooms.
The location was very important to us, and I particularly like the Regency Georgian period.
We see features in this house that, you know, that we want to bring back. But we also want to make this a modern home to live in that is warm and safe to live in and raise a family.
It's a great property with loads of potential, but this ambitious couple are going to be juggling a huge renovation with their already very busy lives.
I'm a little nervous about the challenges of having a very stressful, challenging job that involves travel, and this project on top of that.
The initial plan was to find a property, then have a baby, and live happily ever after. It all happened in completely the wrong order. In fact, we were exchanging contracts the day after I'd had Elliot. So I guess the energy that I've got for doing this is just a continuation of how my life would be if I was back at work.
They've got a sizable budget of over £100,000, so they won't be cutting corners, but they want to get it all finished before Emma goes back to work in just 5 months' time.
It's the first job that we've ever worked on together, but what we're going to have to do is be particularly organised and communicate well as a team, Emma and I.
Over the coming months, Colin and Emma will be completely overhauling this very grand villa, bringing back all the elegance of its Georgian past. I want to help them understand more about the history of the house too, so we'll be digging into the archives and uncovering some interesting stories to make this renovation really personal. And as ever, along the way, there'll be plenty of hints and tips to help you with your own restoration. The villa stretches across 4 stories, but over the years, many of its original features have fallen into disrepair. As well as bringing those Regency features back, they also want to give the interior a contemporary edge. And with Colin's background in innovation, they'll no doubt be dragging this period property right into the 21st century. This is where you are going to stay. This is your family home.
This is our family home. We'll stay here for maybe 20 years at least, I think. This is a family home for Elliot and for us all to be very happy for as long as possible.
And what would you like to know about the history of the place? Is there anything, because that's our speciality, is digging into the past and finding out. Would you like to know about the people who lived here?
Absolutely. We're unveiling the history of the house in its skeleton, and what we'd like to hear is the story that goes with it. That part we don't know yet, and that's really exciting for us to maybe at the end of this journey that we're going on, not only to have a house that looks beautiful, but also to be able to tell the story behind that house. That'd be really exciting.
Downstairs, Emma and Colin want to transform the high-ceilinged entrance into a grand Georgian hallway. And they're going to take out all those features that have been added at a later date and bring the two reception rooms back to a more refined Regency feel. That's not original either, is it?
No.
How do we feel about that? We're going to keep that, or we're going to try and find something more original?
We've been told that something more original would be simpler.
But you're thinking chandeliers under both. So,
absolutely.
So the attention is on the chandelier, not on the ceiling rose above it.
Yeah, the way it was meant to be at the start.
I'm not sure that Elliot agrees with that.
No.
On the first floor, they want to create a high-spec family bathroom with all the mod cons, but also making the most of the fabulous features.
This room here will be the family bathroom.
They'll also be renovating the master bedroom and adding a luxurious ensuite shower room. And let's not forget Elliot, who'll be getting his very own nursery fit for a little prince. The whole thing's a huge job. Do you not find it slightly frightening, or you just want to get into it and get it done?
No, I can see it all done, so we want to make it happen.
What a wonderful find a house like that is. A real little Georgian gem, which has taken some abuse over the years, but is now ready to be brought back to its former glory, which is exactly what they want to do. And they're going about it right. They're hitting it all in one go. Not everyone can afford to do that, but that's what they're doing. So you won't get mess all over the place as you're doing it up. Also, they've got a time limit on it, because young Elliot's going to be crawling around getting his hands into all kinds of nasty business unless they're careful. I hope they do it right. The house sort of deserves it, don't you think? We're going to crack on with the research on this property, but in the meantime, Emma and Colin have their work cut out. They've got a budget of over £100,000, 6 rooms, a hallway and staircase to restore, and they're attacking it all with business-like efficiency.
Right.
Okay, a couple of things I thought about.
Yep, go on then. Yeah.
Big job for you.
Yeah.
I will place the order as soon as I get light switch count.
Yes.
OK, it may not make for high drama, but as we all know, you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Business executives Colin and Emma Bannon are restoring this fabulous Regency villa in Leamington Spa. These are wonderful, these houses, aren't they? Because just the sheer size of them, the grandeur of them. They're sharing the project management and have gathered a good team behind them. Just in time too, deliveries are coming in thick and fast.
More stuff today. Tiles this time.
I really enjoy my day job, but this is also really fun because unlike work that I do normally that may be quite abstract, this is really tangible. So at the end of the day, you've done some project management, you can see what you've done.
This is so incredible.
The future for all freedom-loving people.
Is that cool? Look at the eye!
Unleash your inner minion with a surprise Minions toy and the goodness of milk in your McDonald's Happy Meal.
The first part of the build is to completely overhaul the central heating system. There's a fireplace in virtually every room of this huge 4-storey villa. Colin and Emma are keen to bring these features back, but given his role as Vice President of Innovations and as a self-confessed gadget freak, Colin also wants to make sure that the heating system is bang up to date.
It's going to be a multi-zone heating system. So you've got different heats at different levels. You've got weather compensating.
Actually, the mechanics of it, I couldn't give a monkey's about. All I want is hot water and heating before it gets cold.
The plumbers are doing their best to install this system quickly, but winter is drawing in and Colin, Emma and Elliot are, for a short while, having to move to the warmth of a hotel over the road.
Heat is the name of the game right now, because it's freezing.
Just checking in, thanks.
As they await that elusive hot water, we've been looking into the history of this fantastic property. During the 19th century, as Georgians of distinction realised the appeal of the area's natural springs, Leamington experienced one of the most rapid expansions in England. In 1834, a young architect by the name of William Thomas was commissioned to design and build a series of residential dwellings for the increasing genteel population. He wanted to create an idyllic retreat away from the bustle of the town, and he took inspiration from the architecture of the classical world. The first residential circus was in fact built several decades earlier in Bath, but Thomas here applied the concept on a more modest scale, and in 1838 Lansdowne Circus was complete. One of its early residents was the famous American writer Nathaniel Hawthorne. Not only did he live on your circus,
Right.
He wrote a book. Actually, it's about your circus. He actually wrote about it.
Oh, okay.
And so if you're up for it, I'll read you a few extracts here.
Please, yeah.
There is a small nest of a place in Leamington at number 10, Lansdowne Circus, upon which to this day my reminiscences are apt to settle as one of the cosiest nooks in England or in the world. An abode here is a genuine seclusion, for the ordinary stream of life does not run through this little quiet pool, and few or none of the inhabitants seem to be troubled with any business or outside activities.
Wow.
Sounds about right, doesn't
Sounds
it?
you got it exactly right, hasn't he? Even today, it feels like that.
It feels like you're separated from the general to and fro. I genuinely think it has retained that charm.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
This is a great part.
As we went through the census returns to get a picture of life in this sleepy little nook, an interesting pattern emerged. Emma and Colin's house has been home to a whole host of genteel tenants, from retired army majors to church ministers, but none of them lived in the house alone. In Georgian times, no gentleman or lady of the house would trouble themselves with all those tedious chores. Why would they, when for as little as £10 a year, they could get in hired help? Now, this is the difference. This is why people could afford servants in those days, and you couldn't afford servants these days, because £10 a year, I mean, that's the equivalent of £600 in today's money, which is under £2 a day.
Right. So I wonder, were they up at the top or down at the bottom in the house? I'd be
Well,
interested.
we can help you out with that too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. We actually have a sale of number 2, an auction
Oh, really?
advertisement, which lists the different rooms.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting about this is it
amazing.
does suggest
Yeah.
what the rooms are for. We know that the downstairs room, your basement, would have been used by the servants to prepare meals.
Yes, yeah.
We also know the attic rooms are much less elaborate,
Yes.
which means that's where
they were.
the servants live. And you're absolutely right.
This is worth studying a lot, because there's a huge amount of information in here.
Yeah. It's a
Talking
real
about,
insight, isn't it?
yeah, talking about, exactly what sort of furniture was in here. It's like a guide to us.
It is.
And I'm going to be studying this very closely, so that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
That's all right. There's no guarantee you'll find documents like this, but take a look at the home website for some useful tips on researching your own house's history. Back at Colin and Emma's Regency Villa, the plumbers have been busy.
Hot water. Oh, this is a total joy. And I mean, for about a week we didn't have any hot water. And then once the new system was in, you realised how rubbish the pressure on the old system was. And certainly upstairs, it takes about 2 minutes to run a bath now, as opposed to 20 minutes. So, Mummy can make your bottles quicker. Bath time is quicker, isn't it? Everything's quicker.
The hot water may be back, but Colin's all singing, all dancing boiler also needs to start heating the house. Of course, the first occupants of this house would have relied on their live-in servants to keep all those fires lit throughout the winter months. It wasn't until the early 1900s that cast iron radiators brought central heating to Britain. Now, you can find early examples of this Victorian technology saved from the scrap man's crusher at your local reclamation yard. Here we go, this is Radiator Central.
So it is.
They can make for a striking design feature in your home. I thought I'd bring Emma and Colin here to get a few ideas. Like, so for example, an old original would be something like that, which is very plain and ordinary.
I think I'd like to go for the more plain ones in the rooms, but actually where they're on display when you walk in. So, for example, in the hallway, I'd like to go for something a bit more ornate.
You can either take them yourself, or you can get the guys to do it, and they will do it in whatever colour and bring it up, sort of enamelled or sprayed like this.
Yeah, that's quite
Baked.
impressive.
Yeah. One extra tip: when you actually get them delivered, make sure the people who deliver them carry them pretty much to where you want them to be. These things on their own, I mean, they are unbelievably heavy.
Wow.
So make sure you've got some help, or maybe if you've got a cousin or something who's like 6'5" and shot puts or throws hammer for a living, that's what you want to have around. But you don't have to go for an original. There are plenty of reproduction versions on the market that really look the part. Emma and Colin want to be sure that they'll work seamlessly with their advanced high-pressure system. And a few weeks later, their online order of 10 Victorian-style radiators and valves has arrived.
We found these couple of radiators. We've got some big monsters for some of the rooms. I don't get excited about plumbing normally. That's Emma's area. But I thought this was great because these ones are actually replicas, but they're thermostatic. So there's actually a temperature valve on the top, so it's kind of the best of both worlds, and it's solid brass, and they're a thing of beauty, really.
And with the radiators all plumbed in, they can finally move back in and enjoy the warmth.
The house feels livable now, even though it's still a complete construction site.
We've never really had the heating on whilst we've been here, the old heating at all. So
it's drier, and it's warm, and the pressure on the taps and the radiators look great. We'd like to have this place safe and warm. We've got it warm now. Once he's up and crawling around, we want it safe and soft and happy little environment and not so dusty for him.
They may have turned a corner, but this little guy is growing fast, and there's still a huge amount to do before the place is child-friendly, let alone finished. For a start, the floors aren't down yet, and there's plastering and decorating to do throughout the house. Upstairs, the bathroom, bedroom and ensuite and Elliot's nursery are still a long way off, with period features to restore and fittings to source. Downstairs, that hallway is still a bare shell, and the two reception rooms need fireplaces, decorative plasterwork and, well, basically a complete overhaul. Not a good time for Colin to be called away on business then, but such is the life of the high-flying exec.
hi, Daddy. Just being by yourself and having to chase around, it's not easy when Elliot's in one hand and the phone's in the other. In fact, I think everybody at every company that I've spoken to now knows my son is in the background. So like, what's that? Was that the television? I'm like, no, that's my 4-month-old son.
Yeah, not too bad now.
It may be hard going, but Emma's not going to let it get her down. In fact, quite the opposite.
With Colin away, it means two things. One, it's a chance for me to get my own way, and two, at least the decision gets made without any argument or disagreement.
So Emma's measuring up for another challenge.
Yeah. This morning we're actually going to take samples of the old skirting board to the bench joiners. It's quite a task actually. We should have allowed about an hour for it. We're allowing about 10 minutes, which isn't very productive.
The skirting throughout the house is in a bad way, but rather than get it all restored, Emma's heading to a local joinery company to get new boards made up to match the original style.
Although it's going to be look like the original, it is going to be new, so it's going to be easier to paint, so hopefully it'll save us a lot of work. So I've brought in all of the offcuts and samples of what we think is original.
As Emma's discovered, there are different levels of detail across the 4 floors of the house. The joiners will make up special cutters to match each profile.
Traditionally, on the ground floor, where you would have the grand staircase, would be quite ornate. Then as you move up the stairs and go to the first floor, you'll find everything's downgraded. The skirtings become, shallower, architraves, less detail on them. And then as you move even further up the house, you'll find it's really, really basic.
Emma's ordered over 100 metres of skirting at a total cost of £1,400. Considering the man-hours it would have taken to restore it all, it's worked out to be a much cheaper way to bring back that original look. Back at the house, it's a hive of activity. And on top of all those errands Emma's running, she's also having to project manage the build and keep her workforce happy.
A lot of stuff coming tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to be in. Tea maker. Where do you want it? On here?
Oh, that's lovely, thanks.
Yep. Nappy changer.
The very definition of a multitasking mum.
So I've had to make 1 or 2 decisions, I'm afraid. I don't know what you told Richard about the lighting in the main bathroom. I know you don't like it, but that's exactly how it's going to have to be, I'm afraid. No doubt when he gets back tonight, shattered, I'll be like, we need to have a project meeting.
Emma's keen to replace that overly ornate ceiling rose in the morning room with something a little simpler and more in keeping with the house's Regency roots.
It looks really not part of the house. It's definitely not original. It's probably about 20 years old, something like that, but far too big. You're supposed to at least see the light fitting before you see the ceiling rose rather than the other way around. Bye-bye, ceiling rose.
After this push from Emma, the first fix is pretty much complete and thoughts can begin to turn to some of the more decorative elements. But all this upheaval is beginning to take its toll.
Just quite exhausted. And don't forget, the weekends are taken up by having stuff done as well. So the carpenter and the brickie is here at the weekend. So it doesn't necessarily stop in the sense that, we've got a day when we've got nothing on today. So desperate to get away and just relax and actually have a shower and a bath in a house that's all been done, and just sit down on a sofa that isn't dirty and things like that.
Colin and Emma's restoration is coming along nicely and things are starting to take shape, although they are still living in a building site. So I've encouraged them to take a lead from their Georgian ancestors and book a bit of downtime. You see, the Georgians didn't take the pursuit of leisure lightly. If there was one thing they knew, it was how to relax in style. And the destination of choice for that rejuvenating Georgian mini break was, of course, the original spa town of Bath. This luxurious retreat was what all other spa towns of the age aspired to. City folk would travel from miles around to soak up the fabulous architecture and relax in the healing waters of the area's natural springs. The main reason for this trip is to give them some much-needed design inspiration, so I've invited them to one of the finest Georgian mansions in Bath. With its grand entrance, classical influence and wonderful Georgian features throughout, this place is going to be a real visual treat for this work-weary pair.
Good afternoon, welcome to the hotel.
Good afternoon.
Well, look, welcome to Bath and welcome to one of the finest Georgian mansions that has been fantastically restored. I'm hoping it's going to give you some inspiration.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
Yeah, we'll refer you straight away to ceiling roses. I know that's something you're thinking about in your
That's
in
pretty
your house.
impressive.
That's a heck of a ceiling rose.
Emma and Colin are going to get really pampered here. We've even lined up a personal butler for their stay. And Colin's already on full alert for those design tips.
I like that. The architraves are good.
Yeah.
Soundproof
Sure.
door.
It is. Welcome to the Lilliput Suite to the Bath Spa Hotel.
Thank you very much.
Colin and Emma are determined that their house should reflect their 21st century lifestyle and not just become some kind of museum piece. Well, here is proof that you can actually combine modern design with stunning original features. It's the kind of contemporary renovation that they aspire to bring to Leamington Spa, on a much smaller scale, of course. I do hope they're taking notes.
Wow, this is a lot to live up to. Look at that.
This is just architrave stuck on the wall though.
Yeah, but still, it does it really well.
Yeah.
It works. Fantastic. I think I'd go for a different marble, but I love the colours. Now, this is an amazing room.
Ooh, look at this.
Yep, works for me. Very inspiring.
This place is a real design feast for the senses. Do you know I'm feeling quite inspired myself?
That's awesome.
I just thought, you know,
Yeah. Brilliant.
a little serenade to bring you in.
That's what we're missing from our house.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need in the
Piano
house.
player.
Well, that's the kind of, that's definitely the kind of piano that you actually is what the plays itself. Nice to see you. What do you think of the room? Nice?
Very good, thank you.
Jolly
Yeah,
good.
lovely.
Why don't we go pick up and have some lunch? What do you think? Yeah? Come on. Let's go and have some lunch.
Hi, sweetie.
So how's it been combining looking after Elliot with having all the building going on in the house? Because Colin's been away with work a lot.
It's okay if you get a decent night's sleep, but unfortunately he started teething really badly. You're exhausted during the night and you're exhausted during the day, so just to have a meal made for you is amazing.
Well, that's the plan here. The plan here is to actually give you a bit of a break, give you a bit of a chance to unwind and at the same time do some research. So what do you think of the place?
It's really nice, isn't it?
Very
It's
inspiring.
light.
We can't do anything exactly like this, but maybe we can steal some style.
What is Philo? Philo is more than 50 channels of TV, live and on demand, with unlimited DVR for just $20 a month. No hassle? No problem. No credit card needed to get started in seconds. Start your free trial at philo.tv.
Is that cool? Look at the eye.
Unleash your inner minion with a surprise Minions toy and the goodness of milk in your McDonald's Happy Meal.
Jimmy's gotten used to his whole room smelling like sweaty odors. Yep, he's gone nose blind. He thinks it smells fine, but his mom smells this. Luckily for all your hard-to-wash fabrics, there's Febreze Fabric Refresher. Febreze doesn't just mask, it eliminates odors you've gone nose blind to. And try Febreze Unstoppables for fabric. With up to twice the fresh scent power, you'll want to try it again, and maybe just one more time. Indulge in irresistible freshness. Febreze Unstoppables. Breathe happy.
Emma and Colin are halfway through the restoration of their Regency Villa in Leamington Spa. With the heating system up and running, the next phase is to source fireplaces for the downstairs reception rooms. And it's time for another meeting.
Let's go to your
So fireplaces. I like marble. What do you think would look right?
I think the problem I have right now is I've seen a couple of things online, and they are, you need to see them.
Hitting those reclamation yards is the best way to get a real feel for the types of surround you might want to go for. Look at that for a fireplace. Wow. There you go. Fancy something like that, Grant? There we go. The English Regency fireplace was inspired by designs from the classical world, with tall columns and decorative scrolls. And craftsmanship was at a peak during the Regency period, as machines had yet to replace the skilled hand of the artisan. I love these places. There's so much to see.
1840, so I would say that's original, yes.
Yes.
Do you like this round?
This one could definitely work for one of our main fireplaces downstairs.
Yeah, rather like this over here.
That's an awful lot of marble you got there, isn't it? £1,100. After a good browse around, Colin may just be ready to strike a deal.
We may just have found our fireplace.
Okay, good. Right. So
we
need to talk
confirm
about
measurements.
We need to confirm the measurement.
Price.
We need to talk about price.
Yeah, because even if the measurements are right, when the price isn't right, then we can't go for it.
Exactly. We'll be doing some major tape measuring when we get back at home and seeing how much we can add. But I'm confident we can make this work, if we can make a deal as well. We've got to sharpen our pencils.
Colin and Emma are keen to keep the renovation sympathetic to the house's past, and I've given them a glimpse into how the original occupants, servants and all, would have used the space. Your basement would have been used by the servants to prepare meals.
Yes.
But in the course of our research, we've also uncovered another remarkable connection between the house and Colin's own Canadian roots. The circus was designed by a young architect who was riding the crest of the housing boom in Leamington in the early 1800s, one William Thomas. He was a thrusting architect who wanted to actually make some money and get involved with these new projects. Now, there was an enormous amount of money to spend, but he wanted it to be gentrified, but on a budget. And about the time that this was finished off, there was a crash in the banks in London, and the Leamington Bank, which had speculated heavily, they went bust.
Right.
And as a result, William Thomas went bust and declared himself bankrupt in 38.
Wow. Okay.
Thomas's hand was forced by this Georgian credit crunch, and not long after he moved his business to the New World. He went on to become one of Canada's most prestigious architects, designing many of the country's most iconic buildings, including St Michael's Cathedral in Toronto. It's an incredible link to Colin's homeland, and we decided to get in touch with a Canadian couple who have recently restored their own William Thomas building.
Hi, Colin and Emma. I'm Don, and this is my wife, Joan. And we're talking to you from Port Hope, Ontario. And we understand you're doing a project that was designed by William Thomas.
And we'd like to introduce you to our William Thomas building. When we purchased the building in 1988, we were very glad to discover that it was a William Thomas building.
And the restoration of it was great fun because you could see it all coming back together again. And we thought, boy, if William Thomas could see this, he would probably be very happy.
The thing to do is never to give up and to always follow the commands of a house.
I wish you the best of luck with it, and I can assure you that when you're finished with it, you also will take great pride in it and be very happy at the time and effort you put into it.
That's wonderful. Wow. That actually made me homesick. To listen to other Canadians talking. Yeah. Even just looking, even in that short video, I saw a few features that I recognized that definitely could be William Thomas type features. So, I mean, there's so many things that I find particularly meaningful to me about his story. And then I can sort of apply back to our situation today. It's very, very special.
One of those William Thomas features that Emma and Colin are keen to put back throughout the house are the ceiling roses. As Victorian tastes developed, these became ever more elaborate. But this young couple want to return to the simpler lines of the Regency style.
The goal is, no matter what, is that we need some very nice ceiling roses. It'd be really cool if we can have something to do with making them. And I can point to that and say, I made that one.
Originally, they would have been made in situ and attached directly onto the ceiling, but today they're manufactured in workshops by skilled ornamental plasterers like Tony Malloy.
Hello, Tony. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Tony.
Don those overalls, guys. It's time to get your hands dirty.
About how she's imminently going to be beaten into submission by my excellent ceiling rose.
After a quick lesson from the master,
Timber reinforcement now.
it's the turn of our budding apprentices.
That's that one finished. Now it's your turn.
Okay.
Two over there for you.
Yep.
Okay. I feel like a complete amateur.
This isn't a race, is it?
But this is fast becoming a war of the roses.
Yeah. Oh, I get this.
We're not a competitive couple at all.
It's going to be so rubbish.
Yeah, brush it in, Colin. Don't take too long setting.
Simple designs like this start at around £50, but the more decorative pieces require hours of painstaking work and can cost hundreds of pounds.
I've given up. I did it wrong, so I'm giving up.
You know what Emma's mistake was? She was watching me.
For once, Colin and Emma's taste is a little less expensive, although they will be commissioning another 6 of these for the other rooms.
Yeah, mine's broken.
That was pretty good.
No, it's not very good, actually. Hey!
Well, I'm pretty pleased with that, actually.
You want that for the bedroom?
Well, I don't know, but I think we should find a place for it. I don't think it's terrible, and it's in one piece.
Yep, 7 out of 10.
Hey! If I was an apprentice, would I make it to the second day, or would you put me back on the tee?
Yeah, you couldn't sell that again.
Okay, okay, all right. Yeah, fair enough. All right, so I'm back on the tee then.
This couple have adopted more of a project management role with the renovation.
The big concern is tilting it up and getting it around this corner. will be the intro.
But after his recent plastering exploits, Colin's keen to get a bit more involved back at the house. He's having a go at ripping out that Victorian-style fireplace.
I was quite daunted. This was like one of the big sort of scary things. As a non-builder, doing stuff with your fireplace is kind of like a big thing. But now that we're sort of getting and looking underneath it and looking at it, and now that we've done some other pretty challenging things, it's not as daunting, to tell you the truth, at this point. So we're feeling quietly confident that we can pull this off today.
He'll be replacing this reproduction piece with the original Regency marble surround that they sourced from the reclamation yard.
You know, having that marble fireplace, having the chandelier, having the extra tall skirting, and the wood details that you see in the wall, it's all in keeping of what it was originally, and that's the sort of spirit we tried to do this project in.
Whilst Colin gets that marble fireplace back in, Emma's got a few more errands to run. The shutters from the ground floor reception room are great original features, but they need some serious attention.
The wood's quite dark, isn't it? Be gentle with them.
I will.
Obviously
I'll do my best.
they're original, so that's it. There are no more.
She's brought them to a paint stripping specialist in Coventry for a nice relaxing soak in an acid bath. It's definitely not something you should be trying at home.
That looks about stripped, there's not much paint left on that.
But in the hands of the experts, all those years of paint melt away in no time at all. And for about £100, it's a relatively inexpensive way to give these shutters a new lease of life. Whilst Emma's away, Colin's got a chance to indulge his second love, technology.
Okay, this is over here. What we've got is the brains behind the home automation alarm system.
If the original occupants relied on live-in servants to cook, clean and look after the house, Colin's handing at least some of those chores over to his automated friend. Not only can this intelligent house control the alarm, lighting and entertainment systems, it will also detect fire and floods and can even remotely turn off the mains water supply.
When you're traveling, when you're really, really busy, something like this is like it's basically like having a butler at the house, but not having a butler.
Perimeter arming.
I think he was agreeing with me. Is that the one I was supposed to push?
So the place is all wired up and the plasterers and electricians can finally get on with that second fix. But on a project this size, there are a whole load of rooms to decorate and furnish.
Fox Nation celebrates America's military every day. The heroes.
We're at war because of this guy.
A lot of respect for these guys and gals.
It takes a toll, but that's why we're Marines.
The battles.
2, 1, fire.
We stand on the shoulders of giants.
In combat, you do what you have to do.
I think it's important that people hear those stories.
With the military documentaries and specials you can't see anywhere else. Celebrate America with Fox Nation.
Is that cool? Look at the eye. Yeah.
Unleash your inner minion with a surprise Minions toy and the goodness of milk in your McDonald's Happy Meal.
Colin and Emma have taken on a huge restoration project here in Leamington Spa, and 4 months on, they've been under time pressure to get it all finished from the most important member of the household, baby Elliot.
He started crawling literally 2 days before this room was finished, so he couldn't have timed it better, or we couldn't have timed it better. I don't know who was doing the timing there, probably Elliot, I don't know. It's like, Mummy, I want a room done please, and I'm going to crawl so that you finish it quickly.
It's a beautiful room, and upstairs may be a sea of tranquility, but downstairs there's still plenty of work to be done.
We got the skirting back. This is one of these sort of detail things that was really worth the investment, because the finish at the end of it looks so much better.
Before this new skirting can go back in, there's one more important Regency feature to take care of.
This hallway deserves a bit of the wow factor, and putting in a marble pattern, marble floor with a Georgian pattern, this will be the sort of the first impression when people walk into the house, to have it open, to have it light, to have it airy, to have a bit of grandness to it like it was originally.
Ever the demanding client, Colin always seems to have an eye on the detail.
Can you match the grain up on the corners of all of these? No. It's every 4, isn't it?
No, it'd be there.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle right now. We're trying to make the jigsaw puzzle fit, make sure all the pieces that we've got will fit, so they're not wasteful, and also that it looks good.
Laying the tiles on the diagonal may require more work from the guys, but it's this kind of attention to detail throughout the house that will make the overall impression that bit more special. Just a few weeks later, and Colin and Emma are putting in the finishing touches to what has been a truly epic renovation. They've transformed nearly every room of this huge 4-bed villa. Downstairs, that hallway is every bit the grand Georgian entrance. The marble floor and high skirting boards leading to a magnificently restored staircase. In the morning room, gone are those imposing reds and the reproduction Victorian fireplace. Instead, Emma's beautifully restored shutters and those period light fittings make for a wonderfully regal space. The fire may not be quite finished, but that original marble surround is a fabulous feature. The drawing room is no less of a triumph, and the reproduction Victorian radiators are a bold and stylish addition. Upstairs, Elliot has got his fairy tale nursery complete with the Regency fireplace and, of course, a chandelier. And thanks to their business-like approach to the renovation, they've achieved it all for £80,000, 20 grand below the initial budget. Now, 5 months since I first visited the circus, I'm returning to see the transformation for myself. Wow, look at your beautiful home. You must be chuffed to bits with this, wasn't you?
Yeah. We're really proud. I mean, we started off with a wonderful shell of a house. I mean, you know, if you start with something wonderful, the outcome, if you do it right, will end up being wonderful. And we're really pleased on how it's turned out.
But you have done it right. I mean, it just feels right. It's been, you know, cleaned up and tidied up. Do you want to lead me on?
Okay. Absolutely. Come this way.
Oh, look.
Hi, sweetie.
Before we get to the room, hey, how are you? You all right? How nice to see you. Look, you've grown up.
Yeah.
12 weeks when I first came here the first time.
8 months now.
What a beautiful little baby's room as well. I mean, it's like, it's from a fairy tale, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I love this room. I like
and he's even got his own little chandelier. And
he does.
And your ceiling rose, which is nice and simple.
Yep.
That's the one Colin made.
Check you out.
Yeah, that's his daddy. Oh, he's going to be sick of me telling him that story before
You're
he
going to
gets
get all the
old.
detail.
Yeah.
All the detail. You know that, don't you? So we're going to have a look at that. I'd love to see the bathroom as well. Is that right?
Yeah, go for it.
Come this way.
Again, it's a beautiful room. It's the last time I saw it, there was a flipping great hole in the wall here, and you could see through to the bedroom there.
The room is coming together. There's a bit more. We've got to stain the oak a little bit more and treat it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a wet environment.
Yeah.
But this little guy in this bath, you know, might as well put a drain on the outside.
Yeah, I can imagine. I bet you have loads of fun in there, don't you?
Yeah.
So as Elliot snuggles into his palatial nursery, we can take a look downstairs at those fabulous reception rooms. Beautiful, isn't it? I've always loved that view out onto the circus and that wonderful fireplace, which was... This is the one we found in Wales.
Remember that? Yeah, that's the one.
This house is a Regency villa.
Yeah.
But you've also married it with very modern technology and made it into a home that's you know, for a modern family to live in. Are you pleased with what you've ended up with, given where you started out?
Yeah, very, very pleased. Yeah.
The person who designed this house originally was very innovative. And what we're just trying to do is carry that theme of innovation to today and just kept it, just spruced it up a bit, kept it up to date, but not spoiled its spirit.
Colin and Emma have served up a really contemporary but faithful restoration here, and I want to mark their achievement with a gift to remind them of the house's remarkable past.
It's Nick the butler.
Oops, this is quite a struggle. That's only half of it, because that is half of a butler's table.
Oh, blimey.
And we are gifting you a butler's table.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, amazing.
That is really...
With some
Very,
champagne
very
on, of
nice.
course.
Fantastic.
Nathaniel, the works of Nathaniel Hawthorne, the piece that I read to you about the circus here.
Yeah.
We're gifting you. This is one of very few left in the country. So we thought you might like to hang on to that and have that to read at your leisure and show to people who come to visit.
Yeah.
One of the things that you'll find, do you remember this? We showed you this very early on.
We really wanted a copy of that, so that's fantastic.
This is the sale of the house and all the strange items that are in it.
Yeah.
One of the items you'll find in there is a butler's table.
Right.
So you now have something back in the house that was actually in the original
So I can
sale.
tick one off and
Tick
keep
one
on
off.
working on the list.
And go working on the list. There you go. And finally, this is your house history. Everything that we found out for you, that we've written down, starting with the photograph. Look, look at the beginning.
Fantastic.
Look how little he was there.
And then all of the details, all of the old pictures, all of the plans
fantastic.
we managed to get hold of, so on and so forth. The whole thing's there, and you'll find that at the end there's a few pages blank because, of course, now you
Gotta keep on doing it.
get to write the next chapter in this wonderful house's history.
Oh, wicked. Oh, that's brilliant.
Thank you so much for letting me come and follow you through this. It's been a real joy and a real pleasure.
Really.
Have a look at that. I'll let myself out.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Nick. That's awesome.
This young professional couple have the time, the money to be able to hit this house in one go at it hammer and tongs, almost like a business proposition. But what they've managed to pull off is all the technology you need to live in a modern house, coupled very beautifully with a real nod to the architectural significance of this building. And the interiors are just sumptuous, aren't they? What a wonderful place for young Elliot to grow up in. I'd live here. I don't know anyone who wouldn't.